Hi, my name is Uvaldo Garcia. Growing up in the Fresno area, I have always been intrigued with Huntington Boulevard. The fine old houses, the large grass areas for people to enjoy. And I have always wondered, who built this place? Why did they build it? Who lives here now? What kind of events happen? Well, I was fortunate enough to meet someone who had the answers I was looking for.
This is Penny Raven. She is a longtime resident of the Huntington Boulevard area, as well as co-founder of the Huntington Boulevard Homeowners Historical Association.
I have lived on Huntington Boulevard for 30 years, my husband and I and our family, our children, and my role was we began many of the projects, many of the events that have taken place here on Huntington Boulevard, and in 1987 when we formed the Huntington Boulevard Homeowners Historical Association, I was elected president and continued in that role for 10 years. Huntington Boulevard began in order to promote the sale of electricity. It was absolutely purely a commercial venture, and the man who thought of it was Albert Graves Washon, and he convinced Henry Huntington from Southern California, who at that point in time had many, many miles of electric rail cars and electric streetcars, to come to Fresno to create the San Joaquin Power and Light Company, and they appointed Mr. Washon as the general manager. And the idea of our area was, it was a newly recorded tract of land, a nice subdivision, and it was a nice wide street, so they could run their streetcar with electricity down the front. They could build prestigious homes on large lots, which would need a lot of electricity for the nice houses that were going to be here, and it would be a showcase for the use of electricity. Because Mr. Washon was able to convince Henry Huntington to come and invest money here, that is how the street got named Huntington Boulevard after Henry Huntington, and his two other investors were Mr. Balch and Mr. Kirchhoff. And so that is why the street to the north of Huntington is named Kirchhoff and the street to the south of Huntington is named Balch. The first building permit was taken out in 1914 for houses on Huntington Boulevard. However, the first home to have a building permit, which was a house on the corner of 6th and Huntington, was not the first one completed. The second building permit was actually the first home completed. That's on the corner of 3rd and Huntington. It's a craftsman bungalow, and it was completed more quickly because it was a smaller home. So it took longer to build the first home because of the size. So those were our two earliest houses on Huntington Boulevard. Architectural styles on Huntington Boulevard range from craftsman bungalows, which are smaller one-story homes that are very well built, to English Tudor that have what are called, they're steep pointed roofs that have a little called a cat slide that comes down one side with a little curve on it. That's called a cat slide. We have Spanish style homes, we have Mediterranean styles, we have Old English, we have probably 40 different kinds of architecture in our 121 houses that make up Huntington. Each one is unique, each one is a custom and very well-crafted home. When we first moved into our home here in Huntington Boulevard, it was painted white. Actually, it had probably been painted once white, and it had window screens that had rusted, and the rust stains had run down the outsides of the house, down the white paint from the second floor to the first floor to the ground. Very soon after we moved in, we decided to paint it the golden color that it is, with the white trim and the black shutters. Within just a very few months, about 25 other homes on Huntington Boulevard began to have new wonderful coats of paint. So it was like an inspiration perhaps to the boulevard.
Thanks to the efforts of the Huntington Homeowners Association, various markers have been placed along the boulevard, such as this one. These markers tell visitors and residents of the fine history of this area. This marker was put in 1983. This year, 2003, two more large markers were put in, one at either end of the boulevard. Now here's Penny Raven to tell us more about the history of the two markers and what went into getting them installed.
In order to make the monument, it was an idea that we had about 14 years ago. And so Larry Raven, my husband, again, listened to everyone's suggestions and drew the original concept of what we wanted to have. We have the granite that says Huntington Boulevard on the front side. On the backside, it has the story of Huntington Boulevard, which it's so much fun to see people as I'm driving up and down the street, see them standing there and really reading them and taking it in.
Despite the area's obvious historical value, the question arises as to whether Huntington Boulevard remains a socially relevant section of Fresno today.
The neighborhood surrounding Huntington Boulevard is very supportive of the kind of events that take place here in Huntington Boulevard and happily attend them and enjoy them. We do many projects with Jackson Elementary School and with Roosevelt High School. With Roosevelt High School, we have had many projects. Once we did a historical home tour. That was a benefit for Roosevelt School. And then we also have their different groups from their performing arts come and entertain at many of our events, like the opening of Candlelight Christmas, for example, at our monument ceremony, at various kinds of events that we have during the year. We include someone from Roosevelt. The residents of the city of Fresno and many other places love using Huntington Boulevard. They come here and enjoy it. They walk, they jog, they stroll. We have runners every day that you see, that you recognize them because they've come for so many years on a daily basis. You wonder where they are if you don't see them go by your window at a certain time of the day every day. And when they're in love, they walk hand in hand down the street. Our hope is that the residents of the city of Fresno feel that we are a very special area to be treasured, and the goal of our historical association is to preserve, promote, and protect the historical integrity of Huntington Boulevard. And so we're hoping that we can do that and that people will always enjoy and love and respect and care for our very special place.
Hopefully you've enjoyed this look at Huntington Boulevard. Maybe sometime in the near future, you could come down and enjoy the rich history and activities for yourself. This has been Uvalde Garcia. Have a good day.